If I could go back in time to your guys' age, I would have started everything earlier and gone way harder. Like, I'm $4 million down on what my income would have been if I just kept going in what I was doing.
What drives you to keep going?
I've held on to like a psychotic belief that this is going to be one of the bigger financial services companies in the country.
You talk about how you know you can survive with no money and
Yeah.
like have you been in that state in life?
If you start something when you're 20 and work way harder than you think you're capable of for much longer than you think you should have, you will be 40 like that and be so fucking successful.
Today we have someone who's had a very impressive story, started a new business about 3 years ago, and it's I was looking at the amount of people in the business, and I was like, dang, this is his business.
There's about 20 people in your team.
40. Yeah.
That's the website is not accurate, but
Yeah.
Dang, so let's welcome Mikey to the show. How
Thanks,
you doing?
guys. Good, man. This is pretty intense setup you've got going on here. Eh?
yeah, thank you. Maybe do you want to tell the audience and us what exactly is your business about?
Yeah, we got basically we're financial service. So Guardian Smith it started out as a mortgage advice company where I was the mortgage advisor, and then I got some other mortgage advisors. We've recently opened the insurance advice arm, and we're about to open the KiwiSaver advice arm. And technically that company launched in April 2022. So from then to today, we've gone from me on my own to over 40 people. We've got offices, a big office in Auckland. We've just got our second office in Christchurch, which we move into in April. And we've got advisors. We've got Zach and Blenheim, Nathan and Campbell and Taranaki, and then Alice over in Hawke's Bay, and we're about to open up in Tauranga, so just going for a day.
It's like so much is going on, and
It's such a short period.
Yeah, I got a lot on my plate. Yeah.
how do you do all of it?
Well, so there's not a lot of, there is skill involved, but a lot of it is like learning as you go. But regardless if you have the skill or not, you have to have the belief and will to succeed and do well. I've held on to a psychotic belief that this is going to be one of the bigger financial services companies in the country for a very long time now, and you just can't let that go away. I think it's you gotta, how we have a fight or flight thing that kicks in survival mode. You've almost got to try and keep the fight engaged, which is why people burn out in business and stuff, right? Because it is it's kind of like a war, and you're always in fight mode. Wow. There's always a problem to solve, and that's why you see, I don't think people understand it, but you see people post on LinkedIn or whatever about how they experience burnout and stuff, and it's normally self-employed people or high performing people in different industries that have it, and it's because they're in constant go mode, and it's not because they're not capable of doing it, but when you're in the fight or flight mode, and if you're in engaging fight mode all the time, it's it's a survival instinct. It's only meant to be used for short bursts, and to achieve something in business, you have to do it for a really long time. So being able to manage that correctly and trying to let go of unengaging with fight mode when you get home to the wife or whatever is important, I reckon.
So definitely, how do you not always engage in the fight?
I've been in it for a while now, so I'm starting to feel it. Yeah, I've aged a lot.
Right.
I don't know. I probably have a bit of a natural mental resilience thing where I can, for some reason, I have the ability. I've trained myself to know that I can live on no money, take heaps of risk, get it all wrong, and I'll be able to fight back. So I've got that in the back of my mind. I don't want to ever use that, but I know that I can be taken through to the 12th round in a boxing match and I'll still be standing there, sort of thing. And that probably came a bit from dad, or being trained that way a little bit, but I don't know, I think it's a bit of a natural thing. The mental resilience part of trying to do something real big is you can't do it without it otherwise. That's why you see I don't know what the stat is, but it's something 70% of new businesses fail in the first 18 months. Because there's two parts to it. The learning curve is extremely steep. Luke, who does the other podcast, he's like, you can go to university and be trained to be an accountant, but when you actually go out on your own and become a self-employed accountant and you open an accounting business, then you've got to do like marketing, you've got to do like negotiation on a lease, you've got to do like office fit out, you've got to learn how to use the printer, connect the Wi-Fi. Like business is like the ultimate battlefield for you kind of got to be good at a little bit of everything, but really good at the one thing that you're trying to do. So it's which, you know, you spend years getting good at one thing and then you go into business and you're like, oh shit, I need to be like good at like 20 things here. So it's like spinning plate. Yeah.
You talk about how you can survive with no money and like with nothing.
Yeah.
Like have you been in that state in life?
Well, I'm just coming out of it again now. So I just got like, when I was younger, before I got into, because prior to this company, and now I'm like the CEO and founder or whatever with 40 people, that all sounds fancy. But prior to that, I was a mortgage advisor, and I was the person that would go around to your house on Saturday and sit down and would talk about what house you want to buy and talk about like how much you can borrow, and we'd go and get a loan approval for you. Like that was me. Now my guys do that, my team. But prior to that, the reason I got into that was purely just because I heard that they make good money. Because like prior to that, I was probably earning like 40 grand a year or 50 grand a year. And I was actually like good with money. Again, I like trained myself to live off very little. I used to send half my paycheck to mum so I couldn't touch it. So like I created different forms of discipline. If I was smart enough to figure out that I can't trust myself with too much money when I was young. So I did that. But eventually I just got to the point where I was like, oh man, I'm sick of being like kind of living like that in terms of counting pennies and cents and small dollars to try and improve. You know, I was in the mind space of like, I need to reduce my costs, but you can only reduce your costs so far. And eventually I was like, man, I need to go and do something about my income. And I didn't know this. It was like a subconscious thing. I didn't know this at the time, but you can only reduce your income down to your expenses down to zero, but your income can go up infinitely. So which one should you spend more time chasing, you know? Yeah. And it took me a while. That sort of came naturally once I got into mortgages, because it's quite a profitable game once you get good at it, which is why we do what we do at Guardian now. And I teach my guys what I learned and the things to do and not to do, you know, and waste time on and things like that. So I don't know, it was just a natural thing of like, oh, I'm sick of being poor. And then like once, you know, I got lucky too, because in the mortgage game, when I'm doing, you know, meeting people to get an approval and stuff, like I started because of the money. And like not many people will say that. They'll say like, oh, I just, you know, want to help people and get a home and, you know, help them on their journey and be educators of financial. Like for me, that's a fucking lie. At the start, I was literally doing it to get more money. Yeah. And what was funny though is after about, I don't know, probably around somewhere between like 8 and 12 months in, I realized how lucky I was, because I started getting people leave me reviews and people calling me after they moved into their home, inviting me to their housewarming and saying thank you, and they're really grateful for the service that I provided them. And then it became like more about the people and it was less about the money. So it kind of flipped around into like this weird way, like what everyone says they want to get in the game for came after for me. I got in the game purely for the dollar sign, and then it sort of flipped over. So it was a bit of a funny thing that happened. And now I really like the people that I work with too. Like, you know, we've got 40 guys or whatever, but I can just like call up any of them and have a chat. Like I really value, call it culture. I call it, you want to enjoy going to work. Like if I have nothing to do on a random Wednesday, I will go into the office and see who's there and chat and talk and, you know. Yeah. So you want to like it, you know, because there's a nice culture there.
Yeah. How did you build such a culture in the workspace?
I think if you just like, so I think making success the standard is quite important. So that's almost like a counterculture in New Zealand at the moment. Like there's like a lot of narrative around like, I was in the Instagram comments today, someone calling me like a Ponzi scheme runner. So I just got in a fight with them, you know, but they're looking at me and being like, oh, successful prick. He wrote like you're skimping off your employees and blah, 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 and all of this kind of thing. And like the narrative in society, there's a big section of society that is like the tax the rich, and, you know, the billionaires need to pay more tax and the wealthy don't pay enough tax. And like, it's just this like, you shouldn't be rich if I'm not kind of attitude. Yeah. So like if you come to Guardian, I'm like, get as rich as you fucking want. There's no law. Right. And you're more than welcome to come here and do that. And no one will hate on you for it. Like success is culture. But also we don't have any. I don't have any like strict rules. So like you can come and be yourself. Like you'll want to fit in. But like most of our guys have a great sense of humour. They take the piss out of me. I can take the piss out of them. You know, I'm flying down to the Christchurch office next week, and I'm going for a beer after work with a couple of the girls. Like, I think humour is really important, and then also, I guess the other part of culture, which doesn't get spoken about because everyone talks about how to make culture, but leadership's really important, and knowing when leadership is important and when it isn't. Like, leadership is not important when people think leadership is like some version of management or micromanagement, as an example, if I've got a mortgage advisor that's got 5 loan applications to do and they're really busy, it's not good leadership for me to get involved in that because they're busy and they've got work to do. But if they have a problem come up with a client, like we had one of our guys down in Christchurch the other day get some death threats and stuff like that, then leadership is important in terms of getting involved. Yeah. Like good leadership is to leave them alone when they're busy and support them, and then good leadership is to basically come in and get involved when something goes wrong and help be a solution provider to a problem. So that kind of stuff I think that comes in time too. Like I've probably worked with hundreds of people now. We've gained people, we've lost people, I've recruited, we've fired. I've done all sorts of different things in time and worked in different businesses as an employee, as a manager, and now as an owner. And you start to get like an instinct of when to act on that stuff. And I think that's part of culture.
You talk about you gain and lost people, like as a business owner, I think one of the most difficult thing is to have the tough confide. How do you handle those conversations?
It's a funny one because firing someone we have lots of laws in New Zealand around like how you have to do it and things like that. And on the surface looking in, it can scare off an employer because it looks like it gives the employee lots of power. But I always come at it like with the lens of like, I hired you and I want to commit to you to try and help you do well here. And if I can't help you with that, eventually you won't be the right fit, and I'll just talk them through that. So like one of the people that we got rid of at one stage, it was like over multiple things that occurred, and then eventually like the harder conversations came, and it was like, look, I want to do this with you and help you do this, and you need to come in and be committed to what we're trying to achieve here. And then, after that, would you agree that it wouldn't work if you stayed on, if we're both not achieving what we want out of this? And there was an agreement in place. It was like, I'll leave anyway. So it's just about like doing as good as you can with it, really. The hardest part is for when you're starting out, when you're really little. If you make a bad hire and it goes the wrong way, you can be expensive and it can ruin a bit. But you've just got to be so strategic and smart with it. To be honest, like I just come from a place where most people are good as well. Yeah. Like most people, like I think have like a natural thing inside. Like most people aren't evil, like most people are good, and if you can try and work out how to embrace that part, and if they're struggling, that doesn't make them bad. It means that we need to help and teach and learn, and then I've got to do what I can, and if I can't help in that regard, then it's like we'll split up and move on. But yeah.
Does that ever hurt though? Or like, do you feel any sense of attachment?
The worst thing that happens in business is when people leave you. There's definitely like a misconception or a misunderstanding of like how much a business owner goes through. That's like where the mental resilience comes in, right? Yeah. Like, my business looks massive, right? It's got offices across the country. We've got 40 people. There's hundreds of millions of dollars worth of loans going through the business every year that we facilitate. There's massive amounts of life insurance and stuff like that. And that for this financial year, my income is $60,000. So you wouldn't think that, right? You would think that I'd be making like $1 million a year, but that's because I'm pouring everything back in to make the company better for everyone there. So every dollar that the company makes goes into more advertising, into like a new office. We outgrew our Christchurch office, but I've still got a lease on the current one until 2027. I can't just not pay that lease. So we move into a new one and sign another $100,000 lease, but I've got to keep paying the old one that we've left. This massive, expensive growth business like machine that you can't turn off. Like once it's going, you have to be committed, and that's why you have to believe in the end result so much, because otherwise it's like, why am I doing this?
And I guess one of the pressure is that when you were small, you can be like, let's stop doing that, let me just go back to normal. Now you have 40 people behind your back.
There's like a bigger commitment, right? Like a lot of our guys have families and mortgages, and they need to be supported enough to make sure that they can meet their, you know, family commitments and requirements and financial needs and stuff like that. And like that, there isn't anything written down in life or in business where that is my responsibility. But it's human nature, if you're a good person, to be like, I need to help you do good. Because it comes back to the same equation as like, if all of my guys do really well, I will do good. So that's my job, is to try and take more time and put more effort into that and help them do well. And, you know, if they're not, then it all comes crashing down. But I get left with all the, you know.
And I guess that's when we go back to like the people who like hate the rich and tax more the rich. They don't see this side of the rich where they actually, like you said, you pretty much sacrifice what you have, and you still not say it's like a bad pay, but like 60 grand is not much compared to like a lot.
No, when I was being a mortgage advisor myself, I made $1 million a year.
Exactly.
So I sacrificed all of that,
and
cancelled that, tried to start something new, and we're 4 years in now, and I haven't even got anywhere close to building it back. So, like I'm $4 million down on what my income would have been if I just kept going and what I was doing. So I've sacrificed that 4 million, plus all the money that I've put back into the current business, which is probably another 4 million. So like I have basically, in a way, spent like $8 to $10 million and over 4 years of my life on getting this up to where it's going. And that's why it hurts when someone leaves. Because like I did all that sacrifice to try and help everyone else get on this journey. And it's like they don't see that, and that's okay. They don't need to see it. That was my choice to do that, not theirs. So that's fine, but you have to have like mental resilience to get through that and believe in like the end result. Like if we go on a double from here, if we end up with 80 people in 2 years or whatever the number is, then I'll be making much more than $1 million a year. But I've got to chase down that like 8-10 million, right? That the opportunity cost that I left on the table over the last 4 or 5 years. So it better make me $2 million a year at some point, because I've got some catching up to do, and then some. So it's a funny one when you think of it like that, because it's like every now and then I let my brain like think about the past and like, what if I didn't change that? I'd be in such a different position now in terms of my personal financial position. But there's the other part is like ego driven. It's like, nah, I want to create something big. It'll be worth it. Because it's cool.
That brings me to my actual question I really wanted to ask is, you were like so well established in like the loan market, right? Like why did you decide to leave?
Yeah, I can't even remember the real true defining decision. I was working with a lot of real estate agents that were selling new build properties, and I was doing a good job for them, and they introduced me to their boss, and he said, you should, but you know, Loan Market have a Ray White relationship. We're not Ray White, we're a different brand. And I thought about it for a while, and I was like, you know, this could be like the opportunity I needed to make something even bigger. And it was kind of shiny object syndrome, if I'm honest. Like looking back now, if I just stayed at Loan Market, I would have been better off as of today. I still know that in the long run, it will be worth doing what I did. I'm still boys with all the guys at Loan Market. I love them. I love that company. And I can go to like any mortgage advisor that's at any company and be like, don't do what I did. Unless you have a shield of armor. Because it's brutal, but
But I guess that go back to what you were just saying. Like you stop wanting the money, but now you're wanting the people. You're wanting to serve the people.
A bit. Money's important though. Like you need to make money, and you can only go so long without making money before you have to realize that your whatever you're building at the time. Like if I go for another 5 years and I still haven't made any money with my company, then I have to go and say to myself, it's either the addressable market's not big enough, good enough at it, or the model that I'm running to build this company doesn't work. So you have to be honest with yourself and be like, are any of those things true? And if they're true, you got to go do something else, which is then like another 10 years gone, right? Yeah. So, but you have to be thinking about all these. It's like a friendly sense of paranoia in the back of your mind all the time, just like holding yourself accountable, because there are things that are outside of your control, but basically you control it all. So just don't be blind to the fact that you can, like, I'm also quite aware that I'm not super clever. The only skill that I have is hard work, and I'm good at taking a hiding, basically. So like, I'd be the guy that they'd leave in the front row on the rugby field and just taking hits in the front of the scrum, getting tackled, because I just lay there and take it, you know, like, it's like those guys that like keep their chin up in boxing. You just get hit, but they just like walk through it. That's basically my skill in business, is just to be able to like I have a high pain tolerance, but I have to be aware that those are my strengths and the other parts aren't. So I have to like kind of think that, make sure you don't mess up the other bits because you're not that clever, you know. Don't think you're too clever for the market.
Well, going back, you talk about a lot of your mental resiliency, and you mentioned that your dad was training you. Tell me, what was that?
Not training me, but the way he brought me up, I'd say. So this is funny because remember I was saying before, humor is important. So like, Dad taught me humor from like as far back as I can remember, taking the piss out of each other. He would take the piss out of me. He would take jokes and, you know, laugh and stuff and make a joke of when I fell over or whatever it was. But it just became normal to, like, my parents, they obviously love me and care about me and stuff, but he made it normal to have a laugh about as much as possible. You know, like some of the stuff I can't even say because it would be, I don't know, back in the day, we'd see like a funny dressed person walking down the road and it'd be like, look, there's your brother that you've never met or something, you know, like just a joke like that. And I knew it was a joke and I'd laugh because like, you know, you don't want that person to be your brother or whatever. And like, I just got that beaten into me. But what that does is it teaches you not to be too sensitive, eh? So like the flip side of having like a really good sense of humor is that you can brush off the small stuff, which is like another bit of a weakness today, I think. You know, like we've got like an entitlement and, you know, sort of I deserve to like mindset out there. I think that's grown a bit over the last decade, which is fine. It is what it is. But if you come in and, you know, like some of my Instagram reels like took off in January, and I did like 1 million views in January, right? And I got racist comments, death threats, like all of this stuff. And like all of the comments, I just put laughing faces after them because it doesn't matter, you know? But you have to be tough. Being tough is like, that's quite funny. You know, if someone, you know, they see me, like I was getting called like the N-word basically. And they don't know what I am. Yeah. But it's like, it's funny to me. I might be, it might not be. Like I've got dark skin, but who knows? It's not that dark. And like, you just have to be able to like brush that stuff off, you know? And I think that's a part of mental resilience, is just being like, nothing really matters. Or a mindset of like, when you've got a problem, is it a bad enough problem where I'll care about it in 5 years? And if it's not, then why should I care about it now, you know? I say that to my wife a lot. I'm like, she'll come home when panicked about something, and I'm like, do you reckon it'll matter in 5 years? And then she'll go, no. And I'm like, then it doesn't matter now, does it? You know? And it's just, it becomes second nature after you train yourself to be like that. But yeah, I think being able to laugh at stuff is pretty good way to be.
You talked a lot about like risk taking, like that you're a big risk taker. Like, do you feel like a lot of the younger people are afraid of taking risk? Or like, even if we think about just someone taking a mortgage, like, because I know I work with someone who's at loan market, and we were talking about how a lot of first home buyers, they're a bit scared of taking a mortgage, taking on debt. So yeah.
How old are you guys?
19.
Like 18.
18, 19.
Yeah.
So the good news is I reckon you guys are more likely to take risk than the generation between us. So I'm 34 or 5. I actually don't know.
So people are like
So like the
around
people in like the
25.
late 20s, like even my age, like early 30s and stuff like that, they're very scared of taking risk. And I think it's like wearing off, and it's like stuff's got so hard that it's like we've almost got to, like your generation's like, oh, what have I got to lose? I'll just try stuff. And that's good because we need that back, because that's what creates like what back in the day we used to call it like number 8 wire. Like Kiwis will just have a crack at anything, you know, like we'll just get into it, and if it doesn't work, we'll move on to the next thing. And I think that's important in general. But for me, in terms of risk taking, it looks like I'm a risk taker, but really it's like calculated risk a lot of the time, eh? I do weird things, you know, like the first time I ever hired someone, the first employee I ever hired, for me to be okay with it. It looked risky because I was like 27 and I was just starting or whatever, or only a year into being a mortgage broker and all of that. It looks like, wow, this guy's taking on his first employee and, you know, going to grow his business and all that. And it looks risky, but it wasn't, because I had enough to cover her salary for a full year.
Yeah.
So like I didn't spend that money because I was so scared of not making the money to pay her. So like that's risk averse. From the outside it looks like it, but it's kind of what I did with like Guardian too, you know. I sold my existing client base to one of the guys that works for us, and I sold my houses and I put all the cash into the side, and I lived off savings for a while, you know, because I knew that I'd have to put everything back into the business. So it looks risky, and it's risky in a sense that like I lose a whole lot of lifestyle that I could have had, but that's not risk. That's management, you know.
But like, just you have a wife. How long ago were you married?
Well, we've been together for like 10 or 15 years. I don't really know.
And she's good with you just selling out the house.
Yeah, she just lets me do whatever I want, but she believes in the vision too, right? Like I've told her, like at the moment, I'm telling her, you know, like a couple more years and we'll be good, you know, like just a couple more years and everything will change, because I can like see that we're getting closer to what I said what we would create. And you know, if I'm wrong, then she might leave me. Nah, I'm just joking. She'll probably stay with me, but if I'm wrong, I'll just have to deal with that when the time comes. But she's very trusting.
I guess you already have like the skills to make $1 million about a year, you know.
Yeah, I can go back. If I failed at everything or whatever, you know, if my vision doesn't and my belief doesn't work out to be true, then I can go and be a mortgage advisor, you know.
Do you doubt your beliefs, or is
Never.
that just like
Never?
Because you see, you have like, you keep saying like, if it doesn't work out, like, is that just because there's the probability it won't work out? Or
Yeah, that's a little bit like the never be completely blind, eh? You know, the reason I say if is because there's a whole lot of things that, like, what if the bank said, oh, we're not going to pay mortgage brokers anymore, so my business model gone, or the insurance companies or whatever. So there's always like something that's outside of your control that can stop it. And, you know, you just have to deal with that when the time comes. But in terms of me doing what I'm doing, I've got full belief that it will happen. Because I've noticed over time that I think I've got a higher pain tolerance than like most people if they try to do what I do. Which means it's probably it's harder for me to do because some people are cleverer and think of better ways to do it, or, you know, more efficient ways to do it. But I just fill the gap with hard work. Yeah. Weird, eh? You guys met a weirdo today.
Really?
I mean, you gotta be special to be on top, you know. Like if you're just the same as every other guy you met, and
I used to think that, but now I think if you do something really well and get better at it every day, but you do it for 25 years in a row, you'll be on the top.
Yeah, 100%.
Because if you do something, when you start something, you're never good at it. You know, like you think you might be good at it because you got taught it in school or whatever. But like we were saying about starting a business before, you learn all the other little bits that you figure out along the way. But in year 5, all of that stuff is knowledge that you've already got, and it's in your library in your brain, and you know how all of that works, and it becomes second nature. The next 5 years, you go and learn next bits and add it on and bolt it on. By the time you get to 25 years, like 2 things happen. You actually are good, like by that time, because you've been doing it for so long, and you know what works and what doesn't. And no one else stayed along the journey for 25 years. Everyone did it for like 5 or 10, or even the good ones do it for like 10 or something, you know?
So it's basically just time that determines like your level.
Time and time and big business go hand in hand so well, you know, like if you go to a bank or an insurance company, or you make a call to one of our phone companies or whatever, like any of those, not naming any brands or anything, but how often do you go get off the phone or after trying to find something out, do you go, man, that was amazing service? Like hardly ever.
Yeah.
It's because they've been in the game for so long, no one else is competing with them.
Yeah.
So they can get away with like poor service by that stage because they've basically got a monopoly. Giant institutions are giants because they've been around for like 50 or 100 years.
Yeah.
And that doesn't mean you shouldn't provide good service. And I know some people that own big companies and they are big on creating high quality service and stuff like that and continuous improvement and things. But time allows you, if you're willing to take the pain for the longer, it gives you such a big advantage, you know. And it's a funny one because, you know, many people will do a business for 10 or 15 years and then they'll sell it, which is fine if that's your game. But to make something really big, like time is... But it's hard to think in like 25-year slots, you know?
Definitely.
I was just thinking about McDonald's, not gonna lie, and I was like,
exactly.
Those employees in the back, I don't know what they be doing. Why is my bag of chips so salty?
Yeah, or soggy, or like, you know, it's like shit service effectively and a shit product, but like they've been around for so long and they're everywhere and they're an institution, you know? So, yeah, it's still like for all the people that get drunk on Saturday night, the first place they go on Sunday morning is McDonald's, you know? It's funny.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. So
is that your goal, to just stay in this long enough and then you'll be big enough soon enough?
yeah, I don't have an end date or number. I've never had like a number in my mind. I don't really feel like I would want to... My ultimate dream would be to build Guardian Smith into something so big that I could pass it on to my kids and they could run it. I feel like that would be quite cool. But if it doesn't work out that way, I don't know. I might sell it one day, but I don't have that in my head. Yeah. You know, there's all sorts of things that like come into your mind when stuff starts getting big too. Like I had a meeting with one of my guys this morning and he's been offered a role somewhere else and they were saying, you know, to him, we'll give you this, you know, cut, which is probably worse than when you end up in Guardian Smith, but we'll give you a path to ownership and things like that. And like, it's funny that came up in a conversation with someone who might want to leave and I'd really like him to stay. Because I've been thinking about how I can do like equity stuff for people in the company if they want to do it, you know?
Yeah.
So, you know, there's all sorts of like things that come up and I don't know if, I feel like having everyone in the company involved in the company ownership structure somehow would be better than just selling it and else. The other thing is I don't know what I'd do. I really like work, but I'm good at this now. I've been in the game for nearly a decade, so in terms of being a mortgage advisor and then Guardian and stuff like that. So yeah, who knows? Do you want to buy it?
Give me like 10 years and we could talk. Yeah. Dang. What drives you to keep going though? Because like you're already I don't know, would you say you're at a level where you'd be able to just be comfortable, or do you think...
Not quite. I'm getting, probably in the next 2 years, I'll get into like the right financial position where I feel like I would have met all of my like luxury needs. Like I'll be able to have a nice house and, you know, have a nice place for the wife, that we could have a family and then we can go on a trip every year and stuff like that. Like we're not quite there yet, but we will be, I think, in my personal internal forecast that's not based on data or anything, just feeling. Yeah, that should be the next couple of years. But after that, then it's interesting. Because it's always, just like I was saying before, it's about the money, and then it changed over. And like Guardian was kind of the same. I was like, I'll make something really big and that will make lots of money and all that kind of thing. But money is like kind of pointless, like unless there's a purpose tied to it. So, I don't know, I've got parents that are probably going to retire, so I want to make sure they're okay. I've got a sister and stuff that I want to make sure they're okay. And like, if I'm the one in the family that ends up making shit tons of money, like I don't even spend that much, man. I don't need much to live, I just like a fast car, a boat, like a small boat so I can go fishing out in the Auckland Harbour or whatever, and then a nice house that I can relax in and have privacy and a bit of sovereignty or whatever. and then I'm done. Like I don't really like have an attraction. I want like a Lamborghini and shit, but I've been saying that for like 10 years and I haven't done it. I had enough money like 5 years ago to do that and I didn't do it. So like, it's not like the top of the list. That's just something cool. Yeah, it's definitely more of like the purpose thing will just be like the family and stuff like that. And then, I don't know, doing this stuff's cool too, like telling a bit of a story. I think every time I do something like this, I'll get like a message from someone from somewhere saying it was like inspiring or whatever. Personally, I don't find like inspiration in this kind of thing, but I know that lots of people do. So telling more stories, getting the name out there, doing more marketing, like there's mini goals too. Like I want to have Guardian, like my company's name, become like a household name. So I'm like, at the moment we're going through the process of like trying to create a jingle. So it's like on the radio everywhere and it like catches people's, people start singing it. And so there's like those little challenges, but they become games inside the big game, and those are like fun. So yeah.
I don't know, it might be a New Zealand thing, but what you just say over there, like with like your luxury need, like going to the harbor, fishing, and going a fast car. It's like, I feel like everyone that live in New Zealand, there's like they have like a similar goal. There's a decent house, don't need to be a mansion. I just want to go fishing sometime.
Like for me, I just want to be able to like, if it's nice weather and it's a Wednesday, I just want to be able to like have the choice to go, or like play around a golf and then I like going overseas maybe once a year or something, but nothing like extravagant. I'm not I've never had a desire to be like a billionaire or anything. Now that I've been in business a while, I don't think billionaire, I'm lucky that I've met some and I don't think they had the desire to be a billionaire either, I think it's a byproduct of like the purpose of what they were doing, which is like building something that is helpful to the market or to society, and then that becomes valuable, really valuable, because it's solving problems.
So would you say your purpose is beyond, is your purpose beyond just providing for your close family?
Not really, man. I also don't believe in like legacy and stuff like that too much.
Why is that?
I don't know. Do you know your great-great-grandmother's name?
No.
Exactly. So like we forget anyway. So I just think like there are very rare special people that do create legacy. Every now and then, once every 100 years or so, there are certain people on this planet. There is Julius Caesar and there is Thomas Edison made the light bulb, Nikola Tesla. Like there are these people that do, Einstein and these people that have such dramatic impact on the world. Like it's arguable whether Elon Musk will or not, to be honest. Like if Elon Musk died tomorrow, he's very special, right? Like he's very capable. He's created a car company. He's launching rockets that land and all this stuff. But if he died tomorrow, I don't know if we'll remember him in like 300-400 years. Like if he makes it to Mars and builds a city, maybe.
No,
that one then definitely. But
like that is something. But that doesn't mean that we have to remember what someone is to have legacy. Like when you go to school and you learn history and stuff like that, you find out about legacy that way sometimes. So if it's recorded in history, then it can be. But in terms of like me wanting to like leave a legacy behind, I'm like, man, if I give all my money to the kids and shit and they spend it, it's up to them.
That's a very interesting
I care more about now. Once I'm dead, I'm sort of dead, whether I get to go somewhere nice after I die, it's up for debate. But like if now you want to have the impact and stuff, and try and help people and do the right thing. And New Zealand's in a bit of a tough spot at the moment. We've got like a very divided society, and like we've got political populism occurring, which is kind of global really. But like lots of people will fight online but not fight in the street. There's lots of that sort of nastiness, like it is creeping into the street. We've when I was growing up, there wasn't much protesting around. Now there's lots of it. That's like people being uncomfortable, and that's people losing hope in their future. That's what creates that stuff. And I don't know if I can I feel like there's a bit of a loss of humor, like if all those people protesting, no matter what they're protesting for, if they brush things off a bit better and like had a bit more fun and a laugh, then life might be better for them. But I care about that stuff. I care about today, and like I'd like New Zealand to be better next year than last year. just in general. But I can't control that either. All I can do is like go to work, try and do good by my guys. You know, if my guys are successful, then their families are better off and they create that better society, you know. So if I can get really big and do that on a big scale, that will be helpful to the country.
So these are things you can't like normally think about.
Oh man, I don't think too much, I just do. Yeah. I must admit, like probably a couple of years before COVID and then during COVID, I really did a lot of thinking, because COVID like sort of threw a spanner in the works for me. I didn't agree with it, like locking people down and, you know, not letting them in school and keeping people out of the country and not letting people go and visit their sick grandmother who's dying, and like I was like very against that. But that made me think a lot, and I did lots of like learning about how the Reserve Bank of New Zealand works and all of these types of things. And now I'm probably past that point of like deep critical thinking around like a lot of the information I'm giving you now, like talking about, you know, purpose and how it can spread and all of that comes from that thinking. But nowadays I'm pretty cruisy, I'm just sort of like, oh, I've got a job to do. Once you reverse engineer everything back and you're like, oh, there's the answer. The answer to all of these problems is to go to work and grow your company so people can have a successful life and look after their own families better than they were before they got with you.
I guess that's really helpful to have that like drive that like this is the angle and we have stepped everything that in between, you know.
Yeah, you've also got to be careful not to end up down in the like too far down the rabbit hole where you like. I'm also known for like hating politicians because I think that they're liars and they don't really care about like their citizens' best interests.
Right.
Which is like a common taste right now. Like institutional trust is at all-time lows across the globe. And so I can see why, because people don't have hope. So once you lose hope, you've got nothing to lose. So you end up fighting and protesting and doing all this stuff, right? But at the end of the day, there's no point me like doing. So I could get really famous on Instagram if I did heaps of reels about how politicians are liars, and I could get hundreds of thousands of views. I know that works. But there's also like no point, because it's like stirring the division and stuff. It's better to just be like, lead by example, and then be like, you know, tell a story like this about how hard it is, but it's going to be good and my life will be better than it was. And the guys at our company's lives are getting better and we're trying to help them get better and their families will get better. And if that story is better than saying, you know, the Prime Minister's... It's more, I think like true viral content comes with like love, not hate, you know, even though like you can get 200,000 views. You know, we did a reel that got 300,000 views in January and I didn't get one person contact me off it. There were lots of comments and stuff, but no one contacted us for a mortgage off it. But I can do a reel talking about how the importance of structuring your mortgage. And I might get 2,000 views instead of 300,000, but I might get 3 people contact me off it. Because it's helpful and educational content. So it's like, what had more of an impact? But we get masked by like the feeling of the views, right? We're like, wow, 300,000 views, that's cool. And you read all the comments and it's like racist, death threats and shit, you know? Like, so it's kind of pointless. You know, like it's easy to be the known hated person, which is what politicians do. They stir that pot, you know, that's how they market. Funny, eh?
Yeah.
Do you think people don't like talking about money in New Zealand, and is there like a lack of, I guess, financial education?
There's 2 parts to that. I think traditionally people have not liked talking about money. I think that's changing and it's actually back in fashion now. So I think there is a definite trend where people are wanting to learn about money. They're looking for information. They're questioning whether they should just like do everything they can to get into their first home and get on the ladder versus like investing in shares. What is KiwiSaver? What compound interest is, how it works, and how to provide value. If I provide you a service and I charge you $80 for my hour's worth of time, like, is that fair? And going out to the market. I think all of that stuff is at the beginning of being in a really strong trend. And I do think that it hasn't been that way. And yeah, I think that's a good thing, because the more people that try and target and access certain types of information, the more conversation and the more back and forth that happens, the closer we all get to finding the truth about stuff, you know, and that is better for society in general. And New Zealand's been very, I guess, blasé almost, you know, she'll be right attitude. We're sort of known for that a bit. Like even when we go overseas, we're sort of known for like how cruisy we are and all that kind of thing, which is cool because it's nice because we're like nice people and we're liked when we go around other places. That's why people like to come and live here, you know. But when it comes to money, I think it's becoming more normal, and it has to, right? Like it's okay if you want to make lots of money if there's a purpose tied to it. If your purpose is bad, then it won't work.
Wow.
I'm still, I guess, absorbing that part because it make me think like, what's my purpose? And well, obviously I want to make some money, you know, but like, what's my purpose in that making money? And
so I've been through this thought process. Like, don't worry about your purpose for now. If you don't have it, like you'll find it out. You'll get a chick pregnant or something and you'll have a fucking purpose. Like that's the thing, is like the purpose you might not have yet, but the way that money works is it doesn't go to sleep for you. So if you're not making it and creating it, then it's not going to like hang around, you know. Like you've got to go and control that, and you will find a purpose. As long as you're a good person, you'll find the right purpose too. Like bad people will find like drugs, alcohol, and you know, evil things, and like good people will find the opposite. They'll find their partner, their home, their family, and their business that they want to grow, or their job that they would like to succeed in, and blah blah blah. Like the purpose will come, whether it's their family or whatever it is. But it doesn't sleep, so don't sleep on it.
Oh, like how would you advise a younger person that wants to get into their like first home to get that first home?
Okay, this is like my financial advisor brain kicks in here. So this is like different for every person,
Right.
yeah.
Because like a young person can come to me and they say that they really want to buy their first home and they're 20 years old, and mum and dad are giving them 500 grand towards it, and that's like a different scenario compared to someone who's got like 5 grand and they're working up. They come to me and they're like, how do I save a deposit and stuff like that? You know,
Did I give you a more clear like side or?
Owning a home and owning your first home, most of the time, the true desire is inflated by emotion. So like everyone wants a home.
Yeah.
I want a home, you want a home. We all want our own homes. We don't want a landlord to come and do property inspections. If I want to paint it pink, I can do it. You know, like I don't want like a rental agent or whatever coming in and telling me what I can and can't do. I want to be able to walk around naked, whatever. You all want your own home. Because that's like sovereign privacy and ownership. Like it's property rights, it's everything, it's something for you. And that's really important to have, I believe. But what's not important is to massively sacrifice and compromise on what you would want out of it because you need to get on the housing market because of financial gain, and you know, opportunity cost is massive. Like if you've got a deposit and you get a mortgage tomorrow and you're trying to grow this podcast to make it into something or whatever, like you can't do what I did at my company because I had no mortgages, so I could pour all of my dollars back into my company, you know. So I can take, that's opportunity cost,
Right.
because I didn't have $1,000 a week mortgage repayment. So that means I could put $1,000 a week back into the business and grow that, which means that a 10-year journey in a business might be shrunk down to 5, and I can buy a much bigger house in 5 years than I could have if I was stuck in that one house doing $1,000 a week or whatever it is. So thinking about that stuff long term is really important. I do think that, so like it's hard to explain that, right? Because you're splitting it up. I think housing is very, very important, and I think that we should all have our own home because it's our place and it's something that we own, and it's like ownership and property rights and all of that stuff. But I also think don't make the wrong decision too early, because it's okay to rent and think about it. You know, it's okay to stay home longer if you're really young and think about it. You know, like the house and the scenario, like what's the worst possible, if you zoom out and you're 20 or whatever now and you think, I want to buy a house today, but what if you just like flip that on its head and it's like, I want to buy a house by the time I'm 30. Then all of a sudden you've given yourself 10 years to grow whatever you're doing. Grow your shares, grow your KiwiSaver, grow your business, grow your income. And I don't think it needs to be rushed into too fast, because if you do that, all of that compounding and skill, personal growth, personal finance, KiwiSaver, savings, all of that stuff, do you think the house at 30 is going to be the same as the one at 20?
Definitely.
You'll be able to buy a nicer house and live in the area that you want, and you won't be making sacrifice and compromise on it. Yes, the housing market will move and it will probably be more expensive then too. But if you don't back yourself to grow faster than the housing market, then that's a problem you've got to deal with.
So it's another risk to take.
Calculated though, putting all the heat on you guys.
I guess the timeline is to grow your income young and to the point where you have options.
It's something that I think more people are learning, right? Because, you know, let's say your income is $100,000 a year and you're in a mid-level management job or whatever. We like struggle and race and strive to get on the housing market that does somewhere between 1% and 7% a year. We buy shares and stuff that do, on average, it's like 7 to 10% a year or whatever. KiwiSaver's the same, whatever. All of this stuff is like 5 to 10% a year or whatever it is. But if you are on 100 grand a year and you go to your boss, I want to be on 180 grand a year in 3 years. What do I need to do? And then make a plan with them and try and use your initiative and think of taking some stuff into that conversation. That's way more of a percentage gain than you'll get in the market or the housing market or whatever. Like that's an 80% gain, not a 7 or a 5 or a 10, you know? Like income is the thing. And it is the one you have the most control over. All of the other stuff we don't have control over. We don't control the housing market or KiwiSaver growth or the S&P 500. The one you do, literally, you can control is the one that we seem to leave behind. But it is becoming more known, I think, and it's important. It fucking disgusts me, sorry, I'm going to sidetrack here. I saw the Reserve Bank governor come out the other day and say, tell businesses, check their pricing, businesses shouldn't be raising their prices. And for the last 5 years, all I've heard is we're an unproductive and low wage economy. It's this is propaganda. You might agree with it because you look at it and go, yeah, my wages haven't grown or whatever. But we are getting fed this information from the media non-stop. Tell the businesses not to raise their prices. We're a low wage economy. We have a productivity problem. Everyone says we've got a productivity problem, but no one talks about their own productivity. They're like, oh, it must be everyone else because I'm productive. But everyone says it. It's look in the mirror. And if you can't raise your prices or increase your wages, it's because you're not valuable enough. So you've got a skill issue. So you need to fix that out for yourself. 180 grand a year is not hard, but it does require commitment into changing what you do. Making 250 grand a year is not hard, but it depends how much you want to put into being the person that's capable of making 250 grand a year. So those are the things that we need to teach. And it makes me sick when the Reserve Bank, the person who controls the price of money in New Zealand, tell businesses not to put their prices up. What if I want to, what if there is a business out there that's providing me with something that's extremely valuable and they put their prices up and I'm happy to pay it? Stop trying to fix the market. We'll do what we want. You control the OCR and the price of interest rates or whatever you do, and the price of money and the supply of money and all that. But we will do our thing. Stop telling us that we're low wage and we're unvaluable and low productive. We are the ones that create the value in the economy. Money is just the tool we use. We are the valuable ones. We're the ones with the power. Sorry, it's a bit of a sidetrack.
I feel like money is nothing if there's no product, If
or service, if there's no good or service attached to it, then what is money? But then there would be no humans, if I couldn't get food. But money is very important. Money is extremely important because, the reason we're in this building is because of money. Because these high rises around Newmarket here and these office buildings and that massive car park across the road and the cars driving up and down the street, if humans never created money and we were stuck trading a cow for a pig back in the farm 2,500 years ago in the medieval times, we would have none of this. It's the fact that we created money and created a ledger so we could trade with each other and keep balance of who owns what. is why we have this. So money's extremely important in that regard.
You've come from like the loan background. What is like some of the, I guess, skills where there's like low entry, high reward?
Skills with money.
Skills, you talk about you have a skill issue. What other skills is there that young people like us should invest in to learn?
Well, everyone's different, right? But one of like my favorite things to do is just to invert it. So if you're having a problem with something, say you guys were struggling with, I don't know, setting up this podcast studio or whatever, one of the best questions to ask yourself would be, how does the worst podcaster in the world do it? And then you'd write down, they wouldn't get mics, they wouldn't care about the audio, they wouldn't care about the quality of the camera, they wouldn't care about the lighting, and then all of a sudden you've got a list of everything you wouldn't do, and you're like, flip that over, and that's what the good one does. So like, it's very easy for some reason for our brains to like write down what the worst examples of everything are, and really hard to do the best. Because instead we think like, wonder what mic Joe Rogan's using. And you think like that, and there's no way you can find out. I mean, you can probably Google it, but as an example, that's hard to do. But if you just write down all the bad stuff and then just go and do the opposite, you'll improve skill massively and quality of everything you do. Inversion thinking.
And that you can apply to any area.
I apply it to like when I'm about to invest in something, when I'm about to spend a lot of money in the business. I think, what would a terrible business do in this scenario? And now I've got so good at it, that's like my natural reaction. And now I think, what would the biggest business in my field do in this scenario? You know, like how to handle a problem, or if you're going to make like a really big marketing decision or something like that. It's like, I might think like, I don't even know, like what would ANZ Bank do like in this scenario if they're going to, you know, pour a whole lot of money into marketing or something like that. And I just use like other examples and I just steal that idea, just talk to myself about it. Yeah. That's a good way to be like, figure out what skills you want to work on too. Like, you guys are here doing this, but why aren't you writing for the newspaper? Because that shit's fucking dying.
who is
exactly?
I was thinking, wait,
the 6 o'clock news and the Herald and all these newspapers and stuff, they're dying with our parents. Once our parents are gone, none of us are using that shit. So they have a limited lifespan. But this, on the other hand, so like you've naturally figured that out, subconsciously you figured that out, instead of going to be like, can I have a job at the Herald and write a column? So like, you know, like, but that's how you've got to think of things. So like, where do I need to put my skills in? So for someone that's going to university, for example, it's probably not a good idea to study how to be a column writer in a newspaper. It's even, to be fair, like even now with all this AI stuff, it might not be a good idea to be like a junior level coder. You probably want to be better at learning how to use AI and get them to get it to code for you. Or you just got to think about these things, about which angle and skill you want to put time and effort into.
Do you think people think like that, or they just like status quo?
Nah, most of us just mid-curve, right? Which is like the status quo in the middle. We just sort of sit there and cruise along, and life happens for us, and we just accept what's happening.
How do
you've got to control it yourself a little bit and put some time and thought into thinking about what the outcomes are going to be of the certain decisions you make.
So like, you talk about during the COVID year, that was like when you had like the thought kind of.
Oh, that one just like accelerated me. Yeah, I was already pretty deep into thinking and how everything works and what I want out of life and stuff like that. But once COVID happened, it was like, made me think deeper about like how, you know, the news isn't news, it's marketing. You know, it's just somewhere that gets eyeballs so they can sell ads, and you know, the bigger the fair, the more people will watch. You know, I mean, how good is the marketing for whatever TV channel that you turn on the TV at 1 o'clock every day? You're locked in your house during COVID every day. Prime Minister, the leader of the country, is like, watch your TV now every day.
I remember that.
Yeah,
I was watching TV.
I remember it too. I wish I didn't, but whatever.
So is that like one of the biggest realizations you had during that period? Like, the news?
It wasn't really a realization. It just made me like more definitive about who I am, I guess. I just like doing my own thing and being left alone. I like the idea of just being a good person, but being left alone to be a good person, you know? And during that time, that wasn't what happened. Yeah. I got turned into a bad person because I wanted to be left alone. So I was like, I'll go to work, and then the neighbours knock, and then the cops turn up. I was like, no, just leave me alone. you're my neighbor. Didn't agree with that.
And that's like where you said that people just like there's so much division.
Yeah. I mean, everyone has a different idea of how everything should be run, right? Like even before, I was thinking in my head as I was saying, New Zealand is divided, and I was like, what's my place to say like what everyone else is doing? I don't like getting involved in other people's business because I don't like people being involved in my business, you know. But there's all sorts of like, you can look through any of my content and I'm hypocritical everywhere, so it just is what it is. You got to deal with it.
I mean,
Yeah.
if you don't
Yeah,
like
I said
it,
I don't like doing like a political reel, and then I go on about the Reserve Bank. I'm a walking hypocrite, man.
This isn't technically a reel though, so.
Yeah.
So talk about what do you think, I guess, your advice in terms of money, loan, or even just mindset for the next generation like us, like 18, 20 years old, or 18 to 20 years old?
Oh, just if I could go back in time to your guys' age, I would have started everything earlier and gone way harder.
Ooh.
Yeah, like I fucked around and cruised and didn't get professional enough, fast enough, didn't respect other people's time enough, didn't, you know, like all of these little things. You guys probably don't, but like back then I used to drink, piss and party and all of that kind of thing, and that stuff's fun and occasionally, but man, if you get stuck in your early 20s, you have such a big advantage on the world for them. Because if you start something when you're 20 and work way harder than you think you're capable of for much longer than you think you should have, you'll be 40 like that and be so fucking successful, because it's like 20 years is a long time. But most people start their 20-year journey at like 35.
Oh.
Yeah, they're 15 behind.
And when they're 35, they have a wife and a kid.
It's harder, right? Like the opportunity cost isn't worth it, because you don't want to go and start a business because you do have the wife and the kid. You don't want to take the risk, and like you can't do what I did and go back to zero and live off 2-minute noodle. You know, like when you're 20, you can do that, and you should use that as an opportunity. You know, there's all that like 20s for learning, 30s for earning bullshit. Like it is bullshit. That is like propaganda, just like the news, trying to stop you from being like super epic weapon productive animal in your 20s. Yeah, but continuous refinement, continuous learning, continuous self-criticism, and continuous, you know, hard work way harder than you think you're capable of. Eventually you'll fuck out and you'll want to sleep, but
Yeah.
That's what I was thinking. That was what I'm thinking, bro.
Yeah.
I wake up, I was like, bro, I want to sleep.
yeah.
Like it
Yeah,
sounds,
I have that.
It sounds like so like motivational and tough, and like I really want to live by like go hard, but like I wake up at like 4 a.m. and I'm like, no, I want to go back to sleep.
Yeah, you don't have to do that. I reckon that's a myth. You can wake up at whatever time you want. Like I don't have an alarm clock. Some days I'll sleep into like 7:30. Other days I'll naturally wake up at like 5, and then just work and do what I need to do for the day. But I have built something where I have complete control of my time, and I can do that. Like the stint that once I got into the self-employed game and the mortgage game that I did for like the first like 5-6 years, man, I worked hard, and I wish I did that 5 years earlier. So I don't do that anymore like that hard. That was proper hard. That was like 7 days, Christmas Day, everything. Like late nights, 1 a.m. in the office, back in the office at 5 a.m., like real hard work. And I just wish I did that part earlier, because I did that like starting in my late 20s. But it doesn't have to be like, yeah. I just think you're so much more capable and like flexible and bendy when you're young, you know, like it's easy to recover from something bad too, you know, like if you get something wrong, you can bounce back. If you do overcook it, you know, if you work 7 days for 9 months and then you fucking miss a meeting because you stayed asleep, like it's not going to like ruin your life. You know, like if I miss a meeting now, it's a big problem, because I represent 45 people and people's families and stuff like that, you know, and all of our clients. It's not a good look.
Dang.
But at the start, when you're starting out, you need to push.
Right.
Yeah.
Push. Right.
Okay, that's the next thing for us to do, is just to push and...
Yeah. There's a podcast on the Keep the Change podcast called The Hunting Season, and I talked about that on there. It's like 18 to 36 months of your life. You just focus, one thing, get after it. You know, if you said to yourself, the only thing I'm doing for the next 36 months is trying to get the best guests on our podcast, at the end of 36 months, what do you think the result would be? Probably be better, right? In theory, you'll have better guests, more guests, you'll have a bigger studio, whatever you want. But I guarantee you for those first 6 months, you'll be like, out of the 36-month period, for those first 6 months, it'll be fucking tough still. But you'll get better at it because you'll learn what to say and how to introduce people and, you know, all of that kind of thing. But that's the hunting season, Go after it.
Sounds so fun.
It's brutal.
Yeah.
That's the thing about like growing something for yourself too. Like it's different to like getting a job, you know, like I remember back when I was an employee, it's sort of like I always had a little bit extra and I'd give my time after my hours and stuff like that. But really, once you do your own thing, like you're kind of in a war. That's what I was talking about. Like that survival fight or flight instinct is kind of turned on more often than not.
Do you have a plan B?
Plan B. Not a plan, but my plan B is my skill. So I've got so good at a few things in business over time that if I fuck it up, I've got enough skill that I can go and start something else and do something else. So like my plan B is my skill now. Yeah, that's why skills pay the bills.
How do you like develop skills though? Is it through like time or through learning or?
So I find it very hard. Everyone's different, I think, because I've seen other people do this really well and teach themselves and learn really easily. They can just say, oh, I need to learn about this, and they'll go learn about it. I can't learn about anything unless I'm interested. Like if I sucked at school, man, because I'd go to like English class and they'd be like, read Shakespeare, and it's like, you know, where art thou? I was like, these words don't even make sense. Like, I don't have like, but you know, give me a car magazine and I'd read about like the latest skid fest and doing burnouts and shit, and I was on, I'd read that and I could read all the words, and you know, so like if I don't have an interest in it, I have very little ability to learn. That's just me personally, but so, you know, the skills that I have are because they're like curated around what I need to do for what I'm interested in. You know, like my hobbies, I play golf and I go fishing and I drive fast cars. So I can service a car, I can change tires, I can, you know, do certain parts in the engine, like a old man was a mechanic, so that came part of it. In golf, I can fit my own grips on my golf clubs. I can, you know, tell when a golf ball is going to curve to the left and to the right, what kind of angle the club and how far it will go and all of that kind of thing. In fishing, I can tie all the knots and fix the fishing reels and know what line to use. Like all my skills are around the things that I'm interested in. I don't know what shoes you should pick for ballet. You know, like I'd have zero idea. I know that they've got like little pointy things so they can stand on their toes, but I don't know which one's best. Like, are they wood or are they metal? I don't know. So like your skills come from, well, for me, of what I'm interested in, and that's about it. Like anything outside of my interest, I have very little skill in.
I guess it'll be the same for most people, I assume.
I think so. I think so. And I think that's why people get upset with like not making money after being at school for like 20 years or whatever, you know, like they get out and they're like, oh, I learned how to do, I don't know, whatever, a bachelor of whatever, and it's like, oh, now you get into business and nothing's like it. You need to be interested in it, you need to be ready to go, otherwise, and then you just get caught in the flywheel of life, and that's what I was talking about, that mid-curving thing before. You just let life take you, you don't control it. So
well, I guess to sum it all, in order to take control of your life in your late teens, early 20, you work as hard as you can, and you
hell yeah,
and you learn the skills that you're interested in that pay those, well, I guess payable income, payable skill.
Well, just a skill that has value,
and after that, when you're 30 and you make millions, then you can decide buying a house.
It's 40. You do it for 20 years.
You do it for 20 years, and
but you'll be making money before then, so you can buy a house whenever it suits. But what I'm saying is, don't mess up
the timing of that.
The opportunity you have in terms of time to spend on something with buying a house. You know, because the house is kind of like an anchor. Not just the fact that it's where you live and you can't move. It's the fact that it's like a financial anchor. You literally have, you know, $1,000 a week or whatever the mortgage repayment is $50,000 a year that you can't put elsewhere. You have no choice. It must go to the house. And that's not to mention the rates that you've got to pay to the council, which are $5,000 a year. That's not to mention the insurance, which is a couple of grand a year. You know, like before you know it, your $70,000 or whatever commitment per year for the next 30 years and sometimes more, and that can stop you from doing things. Like if I gave you another $70,000 a year right now, what would you do? You could put it into a business and grow the podcast and advertise or whatever else you guys do, you know. But you could also use it as to cover your mortgage payments. But it doesn't, like, mortgage payments aren't going to give you growth and a bigger income and, you know, a bigger business or a bigger lifestyle one day, or, you know, sure. Like I said, it's very important. I believe in owning your own home. But at the start, early, be careful about what you sacrifice and compromise on for it.
It's a great way to finish. Thank you so much.
You're welcome, boys. Good stuff. Thank you very much for having me on, eh?
Yeah.
You completely changed my mind about buying a house.
Did I? Sorry. Oh, no. When you do, though, come to Guardian Smith. We'll look after you.
But, like, seriously, like,
there wouldn't be many mortgage brokers that talk like that, right? Like most mortgage brokers would be like, yeah mate, I'll get you into it. But I think that's one of the other reasons why we've grown so much, because I tell the truth about how it works. Yeah. And when people do get ready to buy a house, they come to us because they're like, Mikey knows the price and cost of this and he'll definitely help us through it. I don't try and hide anything, you know.
Anyway, thank you very much.
Cheers, boys.
Yeah.
Like, share, subscribe, comment, and comment what you learned and down below. Thank you very much. Goodbye.